Dave from Drive and Venture. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so already, please think about subscribing and getting that notification bell on. Today I am very much looking forward to reviewing two GT3s. Welcome inside the cabin of this very Moorish and brand new GT3, the 992, the latest iteration of the car that everybody wants. And if I could pick a better day than one we're going to have today, I think that would be very hard to do because the weather is absolutely perfect. A bit like this car. 510 horses now going through the rear wheels of this car with those ever so slightly wider rear tyres at 315 section on 21-inch rims that first came to the RS 991. It's the car that everyone has been raving about and waiting for to hit the UK market, and here it is in the launch colour of shark blue. It's a manual too, so it's going to offer me a little bit more, you might say, than a PDK experience. But so far, it's thrilling. Very similar sound to my first GT3. It obviously doesn't have the howl of my IPE system that's on the RS, but this does have a JCR system on the back, and it does make it sound extremely good. How am I finding the front end? How am I finding that suspension, that double wishbone? We're just taking that little roundabout there before. It feels very composed, very tight, very quick. And it's a joy to drive a GT3 again with a manual transmission. I think the last time I did that, it was a 4-litre 997. What a day that was. Now when you're in the cabin of this very latest 992 configuration GT3, obviously, I've said it before in the content, it steps up the feel. The feel's just new, it's modern, it feels up to date. You know, the widescreen displays, the LCD readout straight ahead, and of course you've got that analog rev meter straight ahead, which is very typical and Porsche-esque. It just feels nimble. It feels very quick on the front end. It really does. It feels actually very similar to the 991.2 RS. Very similar in terms of the suspension feel. I don't think there's a great deal of difference for me, but of course I think the double wishbone perhaps helps you out a little bit more on track. So it feels, perhaps I would say, a little bit less raw than some of the previous GT3 product, but it's got that sound, it's got the performance, that's for sure. So here we are, one of my favourite roads. The sun is shining and this GT3 is demolishing this road. this little quick right and left-hander, I think it really does take that bend very well indeed. It's got some cows in the middle of the road here. But the third gear is just devastating in this car. Devastating. It just takes that bend and you accelerate and it's just hugging the road. Of course, the 918 bucket seat slightly modified now for more shoulder comfort, as I understand it, doing its job. But I think certainly the way it takes the bend, the amount of cornering speed you can deploy is very impressive. And you just give it a little bit of input and it's there. But it's a sound, the car's set up to thrill you and say this is a promised land. This must be one of the shortest throw manual gearboxes I've ever had the pleasure to change gear with. But the ride quality is incredible. It's so good. So welcome inside the cabin of the PDK GT3. Now I'll be honest, I spent most of my time in the manual GT3 today. Again, it's well specified, it's got everything you need. We're not going to go through all the instrumentation. I think I've done that in previous videos. You can check out my base Carrera video about all the things. This is interesting in a GT3, having the mode button on the steering wheel. This is different. So this has got sport and then race. So in the manual car, it's race to get the down blips. But maybe it's nice to be in this car having driven the manual most of the day, because what PDK gives you is it gives you that more relaxed driving. One thing I did notice about the manual car is the gearing ratio, because you've got 6 gears, not 7. Okay, they're packed in a bit more tightly. So PDK, you just click your fingers, you're in the right gear, bang, you're off. When it comes to a manual car, if you're in the wrong gear, and of course you go for the overtake, you might get caught out. So I think what this car gives you, the PDK, gives that instantaneous acceleration, instantaneous gear change, so you can then crack on, get the job done. Now, the manual car, that did have a JCR exhaust system on it, nice bellowing noise. But I'll be honest, I don't think this stock car is anything to be sniffed at. It is definitely got tunes, definitely sounds good, and it's, I don't know, you could easily get away with this car with no exhaust upgrade for me. This car really does remind me of my very first GT3 that was a PDK. I think the difference with the RS is it's just louder because I've got that exhaust system, whereas this is stock. It takes you back to the days of the GT3. But whatever the road throws at this car, it takes it on with aplomb. It's no problem. It just takes the undulations, makes the ride quality very good. This whole experience clinical. And puts a big smile on your face, because it's all about the driving, and I suppose this is what these cars are made for, driving. This car's running the Goodyear GTR tyre, and I don't think you can tell the difference, in all honesty, for me. If you're a racing driver, maybe. Porsche approved, Porsche tested, so I won't be disappointed if you don't get the Cup 2 for Michelin, which you're going to get more often than not on a GT Porsche. In terms of aero, obviously I'm not pushing it, I'm national speed limit, so we're not on a track. I can't tell you whether this car feels more stable at higher speeds over the other GT3 I had in the RS. Certainly they're not making it up. The car does have more downforce, there is more surface area in the Swan neck wing. And it's the latest thing. It's the latest GT car. It's the car everyone's going to want. It's a car that everyone pretty much won't be able to buy. And that's the sad thing about GT products. You want one, you can't get one. It's hard. But if you're lucky enough to get one, I think you'll love it. Okay, so we've driven both cars. Now it's time to have a walk around, talk about the new GT3 from Porsche. Now the thing that everyone talks about obviously is this new Swan neck rear spoiler. And the idea is more surface area on the wing, gives you more downforce. Now I'll be honest, I wasn't overly sure about the back end of the GT3 because this is lower, then you've got the ducktail, then you've got the light going through, then you've got the bigger Porsche logo. For me, it does look a little bit perhaps crunched up, but now I've seen the cars in the flesh on more than one occasion, I actually think it looks okay. It looks okay, but I would probably want a touring if I could get one. The thing that stands out about this car, other than the fact it's got manual transmission, the JCR exhaust, but inside it's the houndstooth seat inserts for me which set the car off, and I do think the silver wheels really suit the car too. Okay, another thing from Porsche with the 992 is the aero on the front end of the car. Now we don't have paint on the front now, we've got this sort of black plastic look. You can have it painted. I think it suits a touring more than it suits the wing car. The vents in the bonnet, I mean, again, they take a bit of getting used to. I saw the touring at Goodwood and I'm not sure if it really suits the touring as much, but again, these things tend to grow on you as time goes on. But that's it's a neat feature. They don't put it in there just for look. It's all about performance, it's all about downforce, and so that's why they're there. So in the cabin, I think everyone's got used to now to the centre console cup, but that can come out. I do think this is neat, you know, the way they've done this gear knob the same the PDKs in the manual, and all they've had to do is create a different logo for the top. But I think that's nice, and super short throw, romantic to drive a manual in a GT car, wing car again, absolutely perfect. And all this is just super new, it's just nice. This is all premium, it's great. The vents, knob on the steering wheel, it's you know, it's the latest Porsche thing, but you know, I can almost fall asleep in these seats despite them being so upright in an 80 bucket seat. I can almost fall asleep. I just love this houndstooth stitching seat centre. Could feature in the Spider, stay tuned. Okay, now with the 992, the car was, I guess, going to have to add weight, so they had to take away weight from some of the components. Now it's got lighter weight glass, and both these cars are specced with the carbon fibre roof, so that's something which is helping to keep the weight down. They've both got carbon ceramic brakes. To say, I really do like the silver wheels on the manual one I've driven today. I think the ducktail is just going to grow on me. We'll see what happens. I mean, let's be honest, these cars are not easy to get. So which car would I order? Would I order a manual one or would I order a PDK one? Do you know, having driven them both today, I'll take the PDK car. So, thanks very much for watching today's video. That's a wrap. That's the GT3. That's the new 992. This is what Porsche is now giving the purist, the motorist to enjoy. Thanks very much for watching today's video. If you haven't done so already, think about subscribing, getting the notification bell on. As always, I'll see you next time.